Okay, we are live. So welcome back on our remote session on Besides Warsaw 2024. And this presentation will be also in English. So I given the voice and the stage for the Adrien Lasalle. And yeah, so you can start.
Nice, thank you. So hello everybody, my name is Adrien Lasalle, and today I'm going to talk about hardware hacking. So it's more like a hardware hacking 101 talk. So like if you are a complete beginner or just starting into hardware hacking, this talk is for you. And I'm going to start right away. Is it working? Nice. So yes, I'm Adrien Lasalle. I'm currently living in Montreal in Canada. So it's like 8:30 in the morning. I'm drinking my third coffee already. I'm working at Desjardins. It's a bank here in Canada. I'm working as a penetration tester. I'm also part of the NGO, Hackers Without Borders. And you can follow me on LinkedIn. I'm posting a lot of memes and interesting stuff too. And yeah, and if you have questions, I guess there is a chat somewhere. And later you can like send me a message on LinkedIn. I will be happy to answer all the questions too. Okay, so yeah, so before doing anything, some disclaimers. Maybe at the end of this talk, you will want to try some stuff on your like device, maybe. So yeah, so the disclaimers first is for electricity. So just always be cautious. Just don't damage the device and don't hurt yourself while you are dealing with devices that are plugged with electricity, obviously. The second disclaimer is about soldering, because sometimes you may need to solder stuff or desolder stuff on component. So yeah, just be careful. It's very hot, so don't burn yourself, and don't burn the component or the device, because some of them are very sensitive to heat. So just be careful. And if you solder, just use a proper ventilation too, because you are using some flux and it's very toxic for your health. And the last one is about the ethical mindset. You may found some vulnerabilities when you're dealing with hardware hacking, so just don't share them on social media, or don't solve the vulnerabilities on like shady place. Just ask prior the vendors when you find vulnerabilities, and sometimes you can get some reward too. So it's pretty interesting. Okay, so here is the summary for this talk. So first, I'm going to like why I'm doing this talk. Some hardware hacking 101, tips and tricks. We are talking about serial ports. Then if you are interesting and you want to jump into this amazing field, some requirements and like tools and device that maybe you can purchase on your site. Because hardware hacking is like kind of an expensive field in cybersecurity. So because you are dealing with physical device that you need to handle, and like you need to plug stuff, and you need some device to start this journey, unfortunately. And then I'm going to talk about IoT camera. So it's a TAPO camera, and then how to perform like hardware hacking on this type of device. So how it started. So just some warnings, there is a lot of memes in this talk. Well, actually, it's been like maybe a year that I'm doing hardware hacking on my free time. It all started with like maybe all my new hobbies, I guess, on YouTube. I was wandering on YouTube looking for videos about, I think it was Active Directory pen testing. And then on the recommendation, so I guess the YouTube algorithm is working well. So I'm glad to sell my data to YouTube. So yeah, the recommendation was like the first channel here, Flashback Team, and they were doing some hardware hacking on the Wi-Fi router, like opening the router, plugging some stuff, getting some shell, finding vulnerabilities, and I was like, okay, I want to do that. So yeah, I start looking around, looking for resources, channel, and here I am. So if you are interested, you can check like Flashback Team. So that it's a group of hackers that are doing IoT and hardware hacking to find vulnerabilities and uh, gain some rewards during bug bounty programs. Then you have Matt Brown. He's doing only hardware hacking videos. It's very well explained. So I highly recommend to look at his videos if you are curious about hardware hacking. And the last one is Ben Heater. So this one is more like focus on electronics and like computers, but it's also he's also explaining very well. So like those are my three recommendations. Um, Also, if you like books, you can take a look at the Practical IoT Hacking from Nostarch. And if you want like other good resources, there is the TCM security course and also a certification on this part. So some hardware hacking 101. So this meme, maybe I need to put some context. I think it was like last year, there were like vulnerability on toothbrush, connected toothbrush. So I think it was like 5 million toothbrush that were like uh, compromised and used as botnet. So yeah, so hardware hacking. I mean, everything that is connected and has operating system, I guess you can take a look at those. So why the IoT security is a big challenge when we talk about embedded device, those need to be a compact device, so don't consume a lot of powers. So when it's come to encryption, you can't like use powerful algorithm on those devices because the capacity and the component capacity is not fit for big encryption. So most of the time you don't have encryption at all, or like very basic ones. Constructors are using also a lot of cheap components because it's less expensive, I guess. Most of the times you don't have security updates on those devices, or if you have updates, some people don't patch those devices. So for example, the security cameras or the Wi-Fi router, most of the people don't do the updates on those devices because most of the time it's not practical at all. And if there is an issue on the hardware side, well, you can't patch the hardware. So if there is a big vulnerability, you need to, well, you keep the device and then live with the risk, or you purchase the upgrade that patch the hardware issue. And I guess most of the times, if I don't know, an attacker gain access to a device with the physical access, it's just a question of times before opening the device, getting a shell, and extracting vulnerabilities or secrets inside those devices. So we're going to talk about the physical ports. So those are everywhere on your little device. So if maybe you are going to open something at the end of this talk, so for example, Wi-Fi routers, you have serial ports. So those are used for the development process doing the prototype. So it's the debug interface. Most of the time they are left without any protection. So on this page, on this image, you can see here like it's a UART connection. So I did the soldering on this one, but most of the time it's like that too. So you just like can plug out those, and then you can gain a shell on the device directly. Those are quite easy to identify, and most of the times once you connect on those, you gain like a root shell access with most of the times no no password at all. Okay, so let's say that you want to perform like hardware hacking, but you don't have the device yet, or you are not looking at the physical device itself. So what you can look is for maybe doing some OSINT on internet. So looking for hints. For example, most of the device that has wireless Bluetooth connection or Bluetooth card, if they are sold in the US, they have like a unique identifier, the FCC ID. And if you go on fccid.io and you type the FCC ID of the device, you can find like internal pictures of the device. So if you don't have the device with you, you can look for picture what's inside, what type of component. You can also find some good documentation of the device. So it's a good starting point if you want to start your hardware hacking journey. Then you can also do some Google Docs, finding online documentation, official or not official. So like for PDF, most of the time you will find PDF with default credential that maybe are going to be useful once you gain access to the device. Also a good place to look around for goodies or secrets, it's the firmware. Most of the vendors are providing you to download the firmware from their website, and you can perform some like reverse engineering or firmware analysis on those, and you can extract the file system and then look around for hard-coded credential and stuff like that. So it's a good way also to look around if you gain access to the firmware. Most of the time now, if you want to download the firmware, you need to go through an application. So they are not always available, but you can find some ways to to gain this firmware. So now you have the device in hand, and you want to look for maybe vulnerabilities or do some reconnaissance. So a good way to do that is like doing some regular pen testing, I would say. So for example, you have a Wi-Fi router with a web interface. You can like power up a Wireshark and see the traffic. You can like doing some port scanning, enumeration, looking for version numbers, and like it's like regular pen testing on that side. But this time you have also a physical access to the device. So what you can do is like using some device. So this one is a bus pirate. So you can gain a physical access and get a shell if you connect, for example, on this one is the UART port, and then you can like get access to the file system of the device, and then starting like system enumeration, some reconnections, and then looking for the secrets that are stored inside those devices. So let's talk about the serial ports on this part. So the first one is the JTAG. So it's Joint Testing Action Group. It's easily recognizable. So most of the time you have a lot of pins like that, but on those there are like 4 important ones. Those are those here. So TDI, TDO, TMS, and TCK. So JTAG is used during the development process, and most of the time used to test all the component of the device to see like if you don't have any issue. So then you can send the device to sell it actually. And most of the time you can get a shell also on the device. And then you have UART. Well, there are many other serial ports, but right now I'm only talking about those two. UART, you have 4 pins most of the time, so also easily recognizable. Well, most of the time you have some labels, but sometimes you just have like 4 holes with nothing to explain you what is it actually used for. If you are lucky, the connections are already soldered. If you are not lucky, well, you need to solder the connection yourself to connect on this port. So the 4 pins on the UART are like VCC, so that's the power, the voltage of the device. You have ground, and then you have RX. So this port here is used to receive data, and then TX is used to transmit data. So if you want to plug two UART ports together so they can communicate, you need to plug TX to RX, and like on the device A to B, and B like TX to RX. So that's the way UART is working. Also, important part on this process, you have a baud rate. So actually, it's the transmission speed of the device. So it's more like, for example, what's the language that the device is talking. So if you want to talk to this device, you need to use the same language, so the same transmission speed. Otherwise, you won't. If you receive data and you don't have the same transmission speed as the target, you won't get readable characters on your terminal. So it's very important to know the baud rate before doing your hardware hacking connection. This baud rate, you have ways to find it. Sometimes of the documentation on Google, you can like, maybe someone already found it. Or what you can do is like trying all of them, because most of the time it's like a standard. So the main one are the 115200, and then you have 9600. So I guess you can like brute force and try all of them one by one until you receive like readable data. Okay, so if you are still interested about hardware hacking, here are some requirements if you want to go on an adventure. So for the serial connection, so this one is mainly focused on UART and all the serial connection. So you have some UART USB device, so like that. So you just plug the USB on your computer, and then the UART cables here that is going on the device, on your target device. Then you have some Bus Pirate, 85, Bus Blaster. Those are for UART, JTAG, or SWD. And then ST-Link programmer for JTAG, SWD. You can also use the Flipper 0. So that's the one I use for this talk. You have the UART and SPI connection on the GPIO interface. Then you may need some jumper wires, so just like some regular wires to do the connection. And also important is to get a multimeter, so this device here. For example, for UART, if you are lucky, you have some text on the PCB. If you are not lucky, there is nothing. So it's very useful to get a multimeter so you can try the connection, and so you will know which port is used for which functionality. So you don't plug, for example, the voltage on the ground and ground on the voltage, and you don't fry the device. So it's very useful. Also, a small soldering kit can be useful. So just like a soldering iron, a fume extractor, because it's spicy when you do some soldering without a fume extractor. Some flux, it's like a product that you use for the soldering. It helps a lot for soldering. And then optional, some microscope and helping hand to help you on the soldering process. Okay, so I'm going to talk about a small device. So it's like a Wi-Fi camera. So it's a connected camera. That's the one I use to do some hardware hacking. So here are the device information. So there is a camera, Wi-Fi connection, a small CPU, and then you have the FCC ID that is available online. So if you go on this URL, you will find some interesting picture, like internal component, you have some PDF documentation and a lot of interesting stuff. Also, it's good to know the hardware version of the device because for compatibility, sorry, if you are doing some firmware manipulation later. Okay, so the first thing I wanted to try on this device is to get a shell. So on this part, I used the Flipper 0. So here is a little schematic of how you can perform this kind of serial connection. So I open up the camera, solder some wires connected to the flipper, and then the flipper you connect it to your computer. On this part, the camera, the VCC is plugged on the, on the wall, on the power supply. So I only use those 3 ports. So I have some picture here. It was not easy to open, to be honest. And then, you get some here. So here you can see the UART board right here. So it's not the label is not very obvious. So you need to try some, if the multimeter, which one is used for what. And then you do some nasty soldering here. So if you want to do some good looking soldering stuff, don't take the cheapest one. That's what I did, on those Chinese websites. So yeah. So here I plug, I guess it's the TX on the red one, the RX is the white one, and the ground is the blue one. So why not? Now that I look at it, it looks like the French flag. So, and then on the flipper, you have the USB serial application. So on the flipper, it's pretty useful. For example, if you don't know the baud rate, you can go on the config menu and try all of them until you receive readable data. So it's very interesting on this part. So once you get a shell, as you can see, I'm using, for example, the terminal and the TO application. I did that on macOS, but it's the same on Linux. So you just connect to the flipper, and then you can see some gibberish language here. So that means the device is not on the same baud rate. So what you need to do is just find the good one. So the good one on this camera is 57600. And then you can see that you can read some very good looking data here. So actually it's the boot process of the camera. So you just plug and start the camera, and all the boot process is going to show up on your terminal. And then on this part, at least, there is some security because it's asking for login and a password. But if you are doing your OSINT before, you can easily find the password online. So for example, for looking some goodies, oh, I don't have the screenshot. Okay, that's funny. I'm missing some slides. So actually, the password I used the. Oh no, they are here. I use the firmware here, so I extract the files on the firmware, then getting the root password on the etc passwd. Then you just crack the password using, for example, hashcat. It's a very simple one, so the password was like SPL realtek. And then you get access to the device itself, and you are the root of the device. So then you start your enumeration. So for example, here I did a test. I just created a file because most of the device don't allow you to write on the system. Most of the time they are read only. So this one is pretty interesting because you can add your own custom binaries. So if you want to do some, I don't know, some Linux enumeration, you can edit some configuration file. And also a good part here is that there is a SD card slot. So you could use this one to extract, exfiltrate files or binaries, or insert your own binaries using the SD card. then you can start looking for secrets. On this one, I was curious about the Wi-Fi password and I don't know, user password for the web interface. So actually, there is a user configuration data that is encrypted actually, and this one is has all the secrets of the device inside. So if you try to look inside, there is some like yeah, it's encrypted and the device is using its own encryption mechanism. But actually, there is a binary. If you do some reverse engineering, that you just run the binary without any password, and he's going to decrypt all the data itself and store them inside the TMP folder. So and then you can extract all the password, the SSID, Wi-Fi password, and that was pretty interesting. Okay, I also wanted to try to do a small exploit on this one. So it's the CVE 2021 4045. So this one is like a critical one. So it's a RCE. It's coming from insufficient check on the user input on the UHTTPD service. If you want more information on that one, you can check this GitHub. I will share the slide on my LinkedIn later. So if you are curious about that. So yes, so I wanted to try this exploit actually, and to do so, the issue I had is that the Wi-Fi camera was at the latest update. So I had to downgrade the firmware. So to do so, if you are curious and you have the same one and you want to reproduce that, you need a SD card actually with an older firmware that you need to rename it with a special name. And then once you boot with the SD card, you can like downgrade the firmware and then the camera is vulnerable again. And then the exploit is like pretty straightforward. So there is actually two modes. There is a mode for the shell, so it will gain you a reverse shell, or there is the mode for the RTSP protocol. So it's like the live string protocol. This one was interesting because it's going to create a new user and the password, and then give you the link of the stream directly. And then if you're on the same network with the camera, you have like free access to the live stream of the camera. So it's pretty cool. So here, some resources if you are interested about this camera. So you have like all the firmware that someone download and put it on GitHub, FCC ID. Then you have a nice GitHub repository, a nice website that someone did a full reverse engineering on this camera. So if you're interested, you can take a look. And I'm done for this presentation. I think I'm on time. Yes, it was 30 minutes. So if you have any question, like don't hesitate. If later you have question also, you can like send them to me on LinkedIn. I will be happy to answer them. And I forget to drink my coffee. Now it's cold. I guess I'm going to stop sharing the screen, if that's okay. Thank you, Dorota. Yeah, I can see that. Well, maybe I can like show you some interesting here. So if you are curious about the Wi-Fi hardware hacking, that's the website I can recommend you on this device. So that was pretty interesting. So if you want to dip in that field, and on this camera at least, so this one helped me a lot to understand a lot of how the device is working and how to handle the oh, how to say that? I'm losing my English. I'm not sharing the screen. Oh, shoot. Wait. Now it should be working. So yeah, that's the website I was talking about. Very interesting if you want to have a lot of information on this camera. Really useful. And I lose my presentation. Okay, it's here. And this one also you don't see the screen? Oh, maybe I close it, so maybe the admin needs to. Huh. I can't paste anything on the chat. Yeah, I don't have a possibility. Well, what I can do, if you are curious, is this little device, Bus Pirate, that I used for the UART connection also. This one is kind of old actually. The firmware is not up to date anymore. So UART is working good, but if you want to do some SPI stuff, like SPI, most of the time, if you want to do some firmware analysis, and the firmware is not available online, what you can do is, well, for example, on this camera, there is a way to extract the firmware. So what I did is like you can plug the camera on, for example, on a switch and doing some port mirroring, so you can see all the traffic of the camera. And oh, it's back again. Thank you. So you can do some port mirroring and check the traffic. And if you press on the application, because it's coming with like Android and iPhone application, you can like press the update button. And then on Wireshark, you are going to see the endpoint where the device is going to find the firmware file. So then you can just like copy the URL and then doing a curl and then extract the firmware yourself. So, but if you are lazy, you can go on this repository someone like extract all the version of all those Tapo device, and you have all the firmware versions. So if you want to, like me, maybe do some exploit testing, some old exploit and stuff like that, you can like download the old version of those firmware and then downgrade the device using the SD card method. And yes, and then I can show you the FCC ID too. So you can go to fccid.io. So you just need to find the FCC ID. Most of the time it's on the Wi-Fi card. So you just need to read the label using your phone with 10 zoom or maybe a microscope. And then on this page, you can like get all the documents, user manual. And then the interesting part are the internal pictures. If it's working. So like someone like already took some nice pictures. So it can give you a, how to say that? If you don't have the device and you want to find like juicy information before purchasing the device, for example, if you take a look at the internal, you can like trying to find the UART port. So it's like, okay, UART is here. So I know that there is a UART for the connection. So if I don't have the requirement to get a UART shell, so maybe I can like purchase it before and then purchase the camera. And here on this part, you can see here the flash, memory flash. So that's where the firmware is stored. So using this kind of little device, without the zoom, it's a blur, yeah. And then using some test clip here.
Excuse me, would you like to show it again with bigger screen because you are so small?
Oh.
Try to do it right now.
Oh, okay, yeah. So this one is the Bus Pirate. I'm going to remove the blur.
Okay.
None. Okay, now it's better. Here. And then you use some test clip to extract the firmware, and then you can do your firmware analysis, and that's it. So I'm done with this presentation. So if there is more question or anything else, just you can contact me on my LinkedIn or send me a message here. I will be happy to answer them.
No question from our social media, so thanks a lot.
Thank you. I'm going to stop sharing the screen. And have a nice day.
Thank you too. Have a nice day. It was really wonderful presentation.
Thank you.
So,
thank you.
It was really good. And happy hacking.
Yes, thank you. See you. Bye-bye.
Bye. Okej, więc jeżeli chodzi o następną prezentację na zdalnym traku, to będzie ona dostępna na YouTubie, na kanale głównym prezentacji. Dziękuję bardzo wszystkim i do usłyszenia po przerwie.